Hello and welcome. It's 6 o'clock and it is the 6 o'clock club. Hi, I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and we've got a familiar face if you watched my me being interviewed. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's my name's Ian, part of the Twisted Narrative family.
Yeah, absolutely. So, wow, what a week! What a week! I can't believe the week is almost over. I know it's not because we've got Saturday and Sunday and they're busy, but for the club, this is the final one of the week, and I don't know. It's March. Everything seems to be
Crazy.
flying by. I mean, January was such an incredibly long month for me. We were just chatting off stream with the Wizards of the Coast OGL. It seemed to drag on forever. Every day was like, what is going on? What are we going to do? But I've kind of lost February. It's just gone in the blink of an eye. Um, so let us know in chat what you think. Has February gone fast or slow for you? How about you, Ian? Has it been a rapid one or?
Yeah, it has been a rapid one. Work-wise, I had a lot on that needed to be landed early start of the month, so that's always going to kind of accelerate things. But I think the real thing is since we play weekend games,
Yeah,
February's like a short month weekend game wise. So I've got like Call of Cthulhu twice. I've got or was supposed to have Call of Cthulhu twice,
yeah,
Versus
no,
Strahd twice, right? Mythical twice. That
yeah.
kind of stuff, and you're like, okay, we're there. That's done. Right? And now we're into March, and I'm looking at my own games that I've got planned and things coming
Yeah.
up, and it's like first quarter of the year down almost ready, or
Yeah,
almost already.
I know. First quarter. Oh God, you're giving me palpitations. Um, Hiya, Kyle, Cara, and Skill. Thanks for jumping in on this Friday evening. We've got some quite interesting announcements to make, so please stay tuned. Skill is replying actually. Skill says very fast. So much has happened. Not all good. Oh, I'm sorry about that, buddy. Um, but enjoyed your Saturday gaming day. Yeah, it's good, and uh, I can see that you have been speaking to Pathol, a good friend of ours that's also in the game, and he's been giving you hints and tips on how to maximize your damage output, which was very interesting to sort of read last night as I was trying to run a game. But yeah, most of the information was correct. You don't get the hunter's mark because that is concentration. If you cast lightning arrow, you would drop hunter's mark. Technically, you would drop favored foe as well because that rules as written um, is concentration. But I homebrew that favourite foe isn't concentration, so you can have it up with Hunter's Mark or Lightning Arrow now. But everything else does stack. Sneak attack does additional weapon damage and everything else. Interesting question. As I have said many times before, I'm not opposed to optimized gaming. It is my job to keep the challenging right, and as long as players are happy with that, it's like, oh wow, you've done something to stop me doing the thing that I'm trying to do. And it's not going to be all the time, but yeah, I quite often get, and this makes me laugh. Wow, just seeing they've got plus 13 to hit, and it's like, yeah, so have you. Oh yeah, but well, is that a problem? Oh, I haven't hit them. I got a 19. Their armor class is higher than 19. Yeah, so are you, and that's without casting shield or um, anything else shenanigans wise that you're doing. So it's an even playing field, It is an even playing field, and that's what I really like about our community is they very much embrace that. And it is, I say, it's literally my job as a GM to stretch you and challenge you and help you tell a story. Otherwise, it will, believe me, get boring after a while of just killing things outright, left, right, and centre. It doesn't lead to a very good game. You want to make a comment here?
Yeah. So I think first of all, to position people so they understand where this start of this conversation came from, it was very much a conversation about we both have Gloom Stalker, I should say, not
Yeah.
Gloom Seeker, Gloom Stalkers in different games in Andes. And Skella came on and asked a question regarding kind of what would happen in this situation, what was people's understanding of it, and it was specifically around this lightning arrow spell, and whether splash damage would also benefit from some of the other buffs that are in there, like sneak attack and hunter's mark. And I've got, as I said in the reply, how I would run it isn't necessarily how Andy would run it, because that's the beauty of having different DMs, and that I wouldn't allow the sneak attack to go onto a spill damage or anything like that. And
Oh,
it was a great,
it
yeah,
won't
yeah,
spill. It won't spill over because that is an attack roll. That is a
exactly,
saving throw. I mean
yeah,
that's fairly clear.
yeah,
But the as far as I'm concerned, the damage from the arrow is converted to lightning damage. So therefore,
yeah,
sneak attack
yeah.
would trigger on the original target.
I think
Um,
to your point about challenging your players,
mhm,
I agree. I agree with you. I think it's a balance, right? I think sometimes your players want to feel epic, and they do want to steamroll something. They want to have that bang.
mhm,
Look how strong I am. I've just took something down in a
yeah.
wanna. Boom, great, right? And other times, because that would get really boring to happen
Mhm,
all of the time, you do want to have that challenge. You know, a great
yeah.
example of that was the mythical game last weekend, right?
Yeah.
You could have let a steamroller out. It wouldn't have felt as, and we're not through it yet, right?
Mm.
It wouldn't have felt as epic for us if we had.
Yeah, no, it was we spoke at length of it on one of the 6 o'clock clubs. It was a really good. I didn't feel cheated that the not the big bad, but the champion, the basically didn't do anything because he just didn't do anything. It was great play by you, and it was a pleasure to watch and sort of see really. Um, and I don't normally like showing behind the screen, but I thought in that case you deserve to know how powerful and tough he would have been had you let him get a couple of well, not a couple of attacks, a single round of attacks.
Around up, yeah.
Would have been quite horrific, really.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, we digress. I like to chat because I don't often get a chance to do it. Um, and Cara says, not skilled enough to optimize. Yeah, it's all about enjoying it. I think, Cara, you are a truly amazing player. I love your characterizations genuinely, and it's a pleasure to have you at the table. And you don't have to be optimized with fifth edition. Um, at all, you know. And it's kind of like any game that has been around for a long time. They bring out more and more choices, more and more things that can sort of add on, and you can optimize is about cherry picking certain combinations that are not powerful by themselves, but are powerful when you put them all together. Um, and that is how you sort of optimize sort of a character really. And I enjoy it.
I'd agree.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of YouTube videos um, about optimizing characters and about what works if that floats your boat. But you don't need to in my games because I balance them. I mean, um, you know, it's you bring your characters to the table. I write the scenario around the characters that you brought to the table. Where it becomes problematic, and this is just a general statement, is where you've got maybe 4 characters, 2 of them are optimized and 2 of them are not. It can feel a little bit outbalanced just Not the challenge of the GM, but there's the two that aren't optimized that are doing 6 points of damage, and then there's another character that's doing like 20 plus points of damage, and you don't want those that haven't optimized to feel bad, like they don't know the game very well. It's kind of out of character feelings rather than sort of in character feelings. I very much like to try and readdress that balance and help the players that haven't optimized to optimize should they wish to, either through magic items or whatever else, just so that everybody around the table is having the same sort of degree and the same style of game, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I think you mitigate things slightly in that respect because of the way that you get players to roll characters, right?
Yeah.
And I say roll because that's just the how we refer to it, right?
Hmm.
But the reality is you go point by or standard array, make
Yeah.
that choice because that gets everybody onto an equal playing field
Yeah.
right from the very beginning, right? And I don't normally optimize characters, but Mythical was kind of the opportunity to do that. But I
Uh,
think that was part of the reason why you probably
yeah.
did
Yeah.
it, which
Yeah. Yeah.
was
Absolutely. I genuinely really enjoyed that combat. It was very very fun to sort of play out. I didn't expect you to draw all of them at the same time. That was. And at first I thought, wow, this is possibly going to be quite bad. But you battled through, which is very good. I didn't add more individuals. I didn't go, oh no, this champion has got legendary resistances, so he can resist the stunning strike. I like to play things straight. You do things, and your characters kind of succeed or fail upon those decisions, and you genuinely did very very. There was some. It wasn't just the fact your characters were powerful. You made some really good choices, and that was really really fun to see. um, it was very cool. Um, and sometimes combat, especially in fifth ed, can feel clunky, can feel right, okay, let us carry on. That didn't. It felt like massive heroic cinematics was going on, even though it was just a D&D combat. It felt larger than life. I don't know how it felt for the players.
so. From my perspective, let's be honest, right? It's rare that D&D combat goes over 3 rounds.
Yeah,
Even really difficult combat
yeah,
rarely goes over 3 rounds. That's why a surprise round's so important, right?
yeah,
Because if you get a surprise round, you've pretty much probably taken down
yeah,
things before you really need to worry about it. Um, but I think we went 10
yeah,
so far. So that's
yeah,
significantly long. And I'm there thinking, okay, resources are going down rapidly here, and we are in the first combat of what is going to be like a significant part of what we need to try and achieve over the next few sessions.
yeah,
Um, and you always think resource management. You always think about how are we going to take things forward from here. But this is draining us, right? We're going to be in trouble if we're not careful. If the longer this goes on, the more of the back foot we're on. And all I'm hearing from the other side of the table is combat continuing too, right? And I'm thinking
yeah,
they haven't got the heavy hitters there. They haven't got the sponges. We're in trouble here. And then suddenly it was like light opened up and it was like, oh, we're through it. And it just felt like it did. It felt epic all the way through, but there was always trepidation and always fear that it was just going to turn on a dime. And I think that's really good in a game.
yeah. Yeah, no, it felt right to me. I mean, the start to the encounter was a little bit sort of frustrating, and I blame myself for that. There was a little bit too much player paralysis of deciding how you're going to sort of approach it, and I don't actively try and encourage that. Um, and sometimes it just happens. I genuinely expected you to sort of stealth in a little bit, start picking them off one by one, trying to use silence to sort of mitigate. Because I mean, this was a big map. Um,
Exactly.
and it was doable. There were some obvious lookouts, which is, this is a dilemma. You need to take those out first. It kind of, and this is what I love about GMing. As I wrote it, it kind of made sense to me. You take the lookouts out, you move around, you take out the wandering guards, and then you sort of. But no, you just decided to drop fireballs from a familiar down upon them, and then all out hell broke loose, which was cool. It was,
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I don't have an issue or a problem, but I did not anticipate that when I created the encounter. Um, you know, um, um, but it's what being a gem is all about. It's like, okay, so how does everybody react? Well, all of these were chilling, so they were all prone. They are going to have to get up. They've obviously seen the fireball, so they're going to make their way to that first, etc., etc. And you have to get into the mind space of all different NPCs and just play it straight, basically.
I think you're right. There was definite paralysis at the start, and if I was to kind of say why I think that was, I think the size of the map was intimidating
Hmm.
from where we were. So to try and do anything as a player, I'm thinking
Yeah,
I've got a long way to go.
yeah,
If I'm stealthing, I've got a lot of things to get past. I've also got creatures that you've told me have tremor sense,
yeah.
which means that there's a good chance they're going to detect me even if I am stealthing.
Mm.
So what are we going to do? So that brings in the
Yeah, yeah. The
so yeah,
parameters.
okay,
But
yeah,
again, I didn't want it to be easy, but I
shouldn't be. Right?
genuinely didn't design it to cause that amount of sort of dilemma, really. But interesting. Skill has asked a question. Kyle, first and foremost, has says, I'm rather enjoying trying out a battle control sorcerer. The last game was very satisfying. I'm loving your greases and everything else. And I mean, big kudos to you, Kyle. You basically made a call. You asked for an Arcana roll. Will Webb trap this creature? And I think it was a gelatinous cube. And you rolled very well. And the answer was yes, Webb will. It's not it does not have immunity to the grappled condition, basically. So it's very cut and dry. But you just decided, I don't like that. I'm going to take the impression that I think that it can't be grappled by Webb because it's acidic um, and it's an ooze. And that was really nice. That even though you'd rolled high enough to get the actual rules as written knowledge, you role played it through uh, brilliantly. And I mean, this was a gelatinous cube against third level characters, so Puakara's character got walked straight into it and was melted away. Uh, Sort of partially. It could have been quite devastating, but yeah, big thumbs up to you, both Kyle and Cara, for that encounter because that was really good fun. Cara's character did survive though. So Skill has asked this question: as you like people bring their characters to the table, what has been your favourite, not player but character? Um, I mean, that is a really difficult question, really. Um, um, in all honesty, there's been so many, and I say why I say so many. It's because certain encounters cause characters to really shine, and I run so many encounters and so many sort of games. Um, the type of characters I really like are characters, and you're going to hate me saying this, but characters that make my life easy. I mean, uh, uh, I'm being honest. When you're running so much stuff, having characters, and I don't mean mechanically easier. What I mean is characters that are team players that support the rest of the group in conversations, that proactively allow the other characters to shine. Um, I very much like characters that are also sort of self-defacing, don't mind kind of being the butt of the joke, or whatever, really. Um, and that's not saying they are the best characters out there, because didn't ask me what are the best characters. The characters that I like at the table, the characters that fundamentally allow me to carry on telling the story, that are carrying the story with me, are the type of characters that I like. You know, and Kyle was a great example there of a character that didn't go, well, okay, then yeah, I'm going to web the queue because it makes great sense. Your character decided, well, no, I'm not going to do that, and you did something else. Everybody survived. It was very cool. Um, so yeah, so community, make my life easier, and I'll love your characters. Simple as. I hope that answers your question, Skill. Um, yeah, Skill said I liked Captain Jack, but understood why he had to go. Yeah, I mean, real life commitments are always an issue and a problem. Talking about real life, let us come on to last night's game, because last night's game was icebreakers. We had a full amount of players. We had, need to get this right. Um, I'm just trying to find all my notes. Okay, so last night we had James and Joe and Jack, 4 Js. Then we had M and Sarah and Michael, 7 players. But the reason why I was talking about characters is, unfortunately, real life meant that one of our players had to leave the previous session. Adrian, who plays Felgar, and he wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. So he took down an awful lot of the bad guys, the Crown's Guard, at the end of the previous session, allowing the rest of the players to fundamentally carry on with the encounter and be successful, which is what happened. But he left behind, he exploded in a huge amount of Phoenix fire, and he left behind his belongings and left a very nice handwritten letter from his character. And it's quite an emotive game, because obviously he'd sacrificed his character to save the rest of the group, and we miss Adrian as well, who has got real life commitments, so unfortunately can't play on the Thursday night. But it was sort of a bittersweet game last night, where they were victorious against these bad guys, but thanks to Fulgar's actions. And then he left this letter behind that they all read in character, and basically took his belongings back to his clan. So that was a really nice game. There was combat at the start. They were successful. It was a tough combat, but again, they managed to very nicely deal with it. And then there was all the sort of not intense but emotive role playing that went on as well at the end of it, which was very nice. And uh, the next session of it, so not next Thursday, the Thursday after, is going to be the 3-year anniversary of that game. So we've been playing
Wow.
it for 3 years, and they all want to do something special. So they're all going to gate crash the 6 o'clock club before the game. So if everybody can make it, we will be chatting about icebreakers in 2 weeks yesterday. about the third anniversary of it and the things that they liked about it and everything else. So that is something to watch out for. But that was last night's game. I'm going to quickly go through um, the weekend's games, tonight's game, and then we're going to chat about actual plays because I've got some announcements to do. So tonight's game is Collateral Damage, as you know, weekly 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons 18th level. Unfortunately, we've had a message on Discord. Ryan has. I shouldn't laugh. He's in casualty. Um, uh, the reason why I'm laughing is I think he's okay, and he plays the barbarian of the group as well. So Ryan, hopefully you can make the game if you can get out. He's gone to get an X-ray. If not, our very best wishes and thoughts are with you at the moment. Hope you are not there for very long and it's only a minor thing and you get released. But there is Ryan, there's Richard, there's Stuart, there's V, there's Charlotte, there's Ben, and there's Michael in that game. And we will be dealing with the fallout of them attempting to take on the gargoyle, this creature that is maybe a gargoyle or maybe not, but a very dangerous foe that I discussed in earlier streams with Michael, I think. Then we move tomorrow, the first game that Ian is in, which is Curse of Strahd, end game time. And I'm not necessarily expecting you to go straight to Ravenloft, but we are in the end game now. I'll do a quick name check. It's Ian, who's here, Pete, there is Josh, Matt, and Ryan, a different Ryan too, who's in casualty at the moment. Have you got any comments about that? Curse of
I think it's
Strahd.
been, I think it was me that said to you, let's do Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
When I first joined Twisted Narrative, I started in a Pathfinder game with you, which I very much enjoyed, that Pathfinder second edition game. I think it was Lost Omens. And when that started to misfire because we couldn't get the nucleus of people we needed, I said, oh, let's do Curse of Strahd. We got a lot of people in.
Yeah.
And I think it's been an amazing campaign. I really do. I've really enjoyed the other people that are in the game with me. We've had some significant character death at times. We've had people leave. We've had people join. But all in all, I think we've got a great party with enough tension. And I think you need tension in Ravenloft.
Absolutely. I mean, it is one of the books that I think is very well written. I think you have to handle it in a different kind of way to normal GMing. It's not a spoiler. Literally, you can get invited to Castle Ravenloft like at the start of the game, and
We did.
and some people go and they don't get killed. He's got no issue with you at the moment. But I mean, of course, if you just go, oh yeah, but we've been invited, let us have an attack against Strahd, then he will just kill you. There are. It's very Hammer House of Horror. It's nothing is particularly going to cause you any harm unless you go against them. But obviously, it's a domain of dread and it's full of evils, and the players will be going against them. But it's very much a case of choosing your time and the way that you do it rather than just going, oh, this is unobvious. The encounter. What do we normally do in Dungeons and Dragons? Well, we draw our swords and whatever, and we'll sling some spells. And oh, they've just killed us all. That was awkward.
They've just killed our Rude Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think it requires a session 0 perhaps, and the GM needs to read it all to understand that is how it plays out. But I've really enjoyed it. I put some homebrew stuff in as well, which you probably very aware of, which has been
very much so
fun. And I'm looking forward to to it to come to an end, really, because not because I want to see it end, but because I kind of want to see the conclusion of your journey in Barovia, basically.
Mhm.
It's quite exciting. So that is Saturday morning. Then Saturday afternoon we've got the Diplomates, which we've got Charlotte and we've got Ben and we've got Ben and we've got Doug and we've got Mal and we've got Nathan in. This is a critical role game again. Very role play orientated. Very much looking forward to that. Unfortunately, um, we had one person drop out of a Call of Cthulhu game, which should have been Saturday night. Plus, it's literally my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so it's kind of fell right really to postpone that one. But I will miss it because I do like that game. And then on Sunday we've got a tier one mythical game in the afternoon, 1 till 4, which again Ian has signed up. Are you doing new character or have you got a lower level?
Um, remember my druid,
Yeah,
Tessel, with the
yeah.
wooden leg? Yeah, he's coming back.
All
So,
right, cool,
yeah.
excellent. I'm looking forward to that. I think at the moment we've got Ian, we've got Anna, is it Anand in it?
And yeah,
Yeah, and then we've got James, and then we've got Marcus as well.
yeah.
So a nice little group. Certainly their first level characters will be second level now as well. Um, it was an interesting mythical 2 weeks ago where they decided to go down these mines and just go separate ways, and it was like, oh, this thing seems to be draining my strength. Um, yeah, one of the characters almost didn't make it back, but they have learned from their experience. And then last but not least, on Sunday night, we've got Eberron, which is 4 till 7, our weekly game that we've talked about, the one that Christian's in, but we've also got Jenny and we've got Jocelyn, we've got Rachel and we've got Tony as well. And I'm very much looking forward to that. So it's a quieter weekend. I was going to do some streaming on Sunday night again. Um, but again, because it's birthday weekend, I decided not to do that. We will be going out for some drinks and some food, so that should be fun for us.
Very
Um,
nice.
I'm just going to quickly check chat and see if anybody. Cara says happy birthday. Thank you very much, Cara. Brooks has said it's a barbarian, okay, minor flesh wound. Yeah, hopefully. And Skill Cannon says you mean Curse of Colin. Absolutely. If you're unaware of what that kind of means, you need to check our improv a live stream from last Sunday night. Um, Talking about live streams, actual plays, I've put together a schedule. So I don't know whether you can actually see this in because I'm going to call it up on the stream now. So this might be a surprise to you as well. But
See it, but I'm going to dive in and have a look now.
yeah, there we go. I've been playing around with this graphic. It's not quite there yet, but it's enough to give you an idea of we're going to be busy bees, busy bees. So you should all be aware of Tales from the Smoke Call of Cthulhu that is happening next Wednesday at 8. We've mentioned this a few times, starting at 7 and going through to 10. It should be a 3-hour game. We've got Michael and Ian and Dave that are in that at the moment. It's going to be interesting because I don't know whether I explained the concept. I don't know whether I've actually um, come to that point. The way that this is going to work is that the smoke is a multiversal um, reflection of itself. So the smoke exists throughout the multiverse as the smoke. Um, this allows us to run different game settings within the smoke, but the smoke will be changed for each game setting in terms of uh, to fit that world setting. So For example, with the Call of Cthulhu game, it will be the smoke, there will be the mercantile houses, there will be the guilds. Uh, it still will have that industrial steampunk Victorian feel, but there won't be different races. It'll be set in a place that everybody is human. It will also be set in a place that magic doesn't really exist, or rather, it does exist, it's just that people are unaware of it. To give you all of that Call of Cthulhu sort of vibe, there still will be the slick, still will be polluted, there still will be the smog, and many of the NPCs will be the same personalities but changed. So, for instance, if there is a dwarven NPC in the fifth edition version of the Smoke, um, perhaps in the Call of Cthulhu one, it'll be a stout gentleman with a big beard, um, but would still be human. Um, so I'm very excited about that. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to have a dark, gothic, steampunk, industrial feel to it. Um, More Victorian than 1920s. Um, I'm very excited to see whether it can actually work this way. Then on Sunday we're going to revise improv, which will be from 8 o'clock to 10 again. More imps will be trying to climb the hierarchy of hell. Um, all of these, of course, are sort of provisional if we can get a cast for them. I mean, I could turn up and just try and do it myself, but I'm not sure how fun that would be.
I
Um,
think you've got a question from Kyle in chat, which was
right.
how do people sign up for it?
Yeah.
So
All right. So, oh, sorry. Yeah, lots of messages. Yeah. So, all you need to do is send me a message in Discord. You're in our Discord already. I'll put you into what's called the green room, which is where people who um, want to take part in the actual plays kind of are. And then you can sort of register your interests. But yeah, do it through Discord, so I've got records of everything else. Um, Absolutely. Reach out to me. Um, and it's a club, we're a community, everybody is welcome. You will need to have a camera, and you will need to have obviously audio for these actual plays. And I'd like to point out that obviously, whilst we charge for table space at the private games, all of these are not private games, so there's no fee to play these. These are free. You are doing me a service, volunteering to come and join in this madness,
by
especially in Call of
signing up,
Cthulhu.
he owns any rights to your likenesses,
Sorry?
and by signing up, he owns any rights to your likenesses.
Well, maybe. Um, so on the 12th, Sunday, we'll be doing improv. Then on the 14th, the Tuesday, the 14th, we've got Shiver. This has also already been sort of sorted out. So we've got Charlie, the actual creator of Shiver, that is going to run the game. And I think playing in it, there's myself, Matt, and Christian, and Adam, who is also a member of the Shiver team as well. So that is very exciting too. Then, because I don't want to do improv every Sunday night, for March anyway, we're going to run some short one shots of Merc Borg. So that's from 8 to 10 as well. Um, we'll be covering that in more depth. But it is a old school sort of dark metal apocalyptic sort of game. Probably everybody will
Awesome.
die, horribly. And if you don't, the world will probably come to an end anyway. I think Ian, you played in
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good fun. I think it's perfect for a 2 hour game and perfect for a Sunday night of descent into madness. Um,
You might want an 18 rating on that one, Andy.
yeah,
That's
all our games are not suitable for children anyway. All our streams. But yeah, it's got dark themes. If you like the Bloodborne computer games or Elden Ring, it's certainly got that kind of feel to it. Um, plus, um, then we return to the smoke again on Wednesday the 22nd, and it's Tales from the Smoke, but this time it is Vampire the Masquerade. Um, Very interesting. See what the Kindred can do um, as they are in this urban environment known as the smoke. Perfect for them, really, with so much darkness around, all that smog. I mean, the sunlight hardly touches the streets even in daytime. Uh, that is, sorry?
I should imagine the mercantile houses that you have there, they're quite nice,
Yep.
like places for a kindred to dwell as well, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the smoke is a perfect environment for vampires to thrive. Not only is there's that there's a status of hierarchy, but for the Nosferatu in the sewers and the rat run, um, there are bawdy playhouses, the Bacchanalia for toreadors. There's a whole host. It should not be particularly difficult to bring Vampire the Masquerade into that. We'll be using the system, but once again, we will be mixing it up again because it will be a tale from the smoke. So, whilst we'll be using the system, and there will be the factions of the Camarilla and the Sabbat and um, the Anarchs, what is going to be interesting is how I decide to place them. Is the Smoke an Anarch city? Is it controlled by the Sabbat, or do the Ivory Tower rule over it? Um, it's going to be a fun one again. And
Do I,
showing, sorry, go on.
do I remember rightly? Because I played Vampire back in the 90s when it started out. Was there a Vampire by Gaslight back then? A Victorian-based vampire system? I know there was a definite Middle Ages one.
There was Dark Ages. I,
Yeah.
I mean, they did release an awful lot of source books, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, since since the beginning of time, really, since Cain got cursed, potentially, if you believe those stories, if you believe the Book of Nod. Um,
Mhm.
Vampires have lived throughout the time, so
Mhm.
a Victorian Vampire the Masquerade would be, great fun anyway.
Mhm.
But again, it'll be the same city. You'll have
Mhm.
the same NPCs. Um, it'll be a different story. It won't be the same scenario rerun, but set in Vampire the Masquerade. What I'm trying to do is sort of highlight different aspects of the smoke, um, these different multiversal facets or reflections of the smoke, so we can so that we can show all of these absolutely awesome systems. Um, then on the 26th, we come to improv again, more imp madness. We swing round to the 28th Tuesday, which is the Riddle of Rotwood Bog. This is um, the scenario that myself and Matt have written that's about to hit Kickstarter sometime in March, and we'll be doing an actual play of that 5th edition D&D. So that's going to be really good fun to get going again. And then, whilst it's not March, the 2nd of April will be another Mork Borg. And obviously, with all of this, we will see whether we get players for it, see whether the audience like it, see whether we want to mix it up and play some other games as well. And of course, as Christian volunteered running a game, um, I would like to invite GMs to come and potentially run an actual play as well. It's not all about me. Um, so if anybody's interested in running a game, let me know. But I wanted to schedule March in so that people can see the dates. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the only nights that I've got free alternatively between the games that I actually run elsewhere. And then we've got these Sunday night games as well. So I will be sharing this in Discord and everything else, but for the moment, I'm going to bring our faces back. There we go. We are back. So chat, what do you think? Do you like the idea of that, or have I completely missed the mark? Have I and no one interested in it at all? Let us know in the comments below or in chat now. We've got a few minutes left before we need to say goodbye for this week because I'm about to descend into collateral damage. Perhaps Ian, you want to give me your initial thoughts. It's new to Ian as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I like to put these surprises on people, then ask them in-depth questions about them.
I've got no problem with that. So I think when you first told me about your idea around the smoke prior to the stream, the first thing that I thought of was, yep, that makes a lot of sense. It reminds me very much of Flashpoint, kind of the Flash story, and it's quite,
yeah,
with you wearing the t-shirt and the fact that you've got this convergence and you can use lots of different systems, I think is really, really good. I think growing your actual play is a really good idea, and diversifying, because you need to show, which you already do, that you've got a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things. Open up to DMs, great idea.
yeah.
Great idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is literally, and I'm on record why I hate the term professional GM. It makes no sense. I make a living from running games, absolutely, but there are great gems out there that don't do it for a living. They do it for a joy. Um, and they are no better or worse than me, So and how do you become a professional GM? Do you become a professional GM just because you charge? Is that the definition of a profession? Anybody could be a professional GM. Does that? I don't like that term. It doesn't sit comfortably with me. Um, you know. I count myself as just very, very lucky that people are prepared to um, um, pay me to run games for them. Basically,
Mhm.
I think I'm very blessed.
One other thing I'd say is that the Battle of Bogwood, that's gone
Rotwood,
off,
Rotwood.
Rotswood Bog. I played in the playtest of
Yeah,
that, and I would encourage anybody to jump into that game. I think it's a fantastic little scenario to kind of role play around. And I don't know how Andy's going to approach it, whether it's going to be pre-gens or not. We had pre-gens, and not having to worry and just jumping into a pre-gen,
yeah,
just it was a ton of fun. So I would, if you're interested, jump on that game because it's great.
yeah. No, it's going to be a blast, and I don't know what we're going to do with it yet because you played the first play test,
Yeah.
and since then the brief changed. It changed from, oh, we actually don't want it to be a one-shot single session. We want it to be a scenario. Can you expand upon it? And the simple answer was yes, we can, because it's a lot easier to expand upon things and have room to breathe than it is to try and make it into 3 hours worth of, especially when you're trying to communicate that as a written word. Um, so we were. It wasn't like, oh, wow, you're making more work for us. It's no, we would very much like to do that. Thank you very much. Fingers crossed that the Kickstarter goes live, fingers crossed that the miniatures sort of go up so everybody can see the miniatures, and it's why I've kind of scheduled it for the end of the month, just in case, really. But we're going to do it regardless of whether the Kickstarter goes live or not, whether there's a delay because of more sculpts needing to be done or anything else. So it's there, and quite possibly, if you come onto that, you will probably be linked to the Kickstarter as well. So you will, the video itself will be part of um, the sort of marketing of it, really. So there you go. But it should be fun. Obviously, if we get inundated with people interested for actual plays, we're going to have to take it in turns and do rotations and everything else. So please be patient. We're only looking for 3-4 sort of players per game, because we don't want people to be talking over each other. It is not a performance as such, but the audience needs to be able to understand what's going on. So having a good video and a good audio is important as well, really. Um, um, very much we want it to showcase Twisted Narrative, and we very much want you, the community, our club, to be part of that as well. Right, so I'm going to have to go and do collateral damage in a minute, which I'm very much looking forward to. Any final thoughts, Ian?
Dave, I think it's I always enjoy Fridays listening to you. I think I think I said it before. Next week, I would really like to know your character spread in collateral damage, because we talk about them so much too, and I now know there's a barbarian, which I never knew before.
Yeah.
So understanding that group would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe not next week, but in the future.
So just to clarify, Ian's interested in knowing what characters are in games.
Yeah.
Sort of not necessarily just names or backgrounds, but mechanically kind of what is the makeup and build of characters as well. So we will perhaps cover that in future sessions. Absolutely. Okay.
Excellent.
So then, without further ado, have an absolutely fantastic weekend, everybody. Enjoy yourselves, be kind to each other and everybody else as well. Look after everybody. And it's a goodbye from me for now, and over to Ian to say goodbye as well.
Goodbye from him.
Yeah. Thanks very much, everybody. Stay safe. Take care. Bye for now.